Unbelievable. Coffee stain already. So I'm a creative entrepreneur, but prior to this life, I had a regular 9 to 5 working for a large financial institution. Pretty much right out of college, I learned enough about running scripts and coding to become dangerous. So very early on, I was able to take my 9.5 hour workday and turn it into about 4 hours. And this kind of made me very nervous because I realized the only difference between me and my coworker was just a little bit of knowledge that eventually they'd probably end up getting. And then eventually my employer would figure out this and then they would probably just get rid of both of us. So at that time, I just decided to start tapping into all of the creative energy that I had been suppressing for years. So I went on, I started in creative work, but I never forgot what it felt like to see how much less work I was able to get done um, with just a little bit of technology. Fast forward, I remember there was a song out. I don't even remember what the song sounds like, but I just remember the title was Uber Everywhere. At this time, everyone was talking about the Uberification of businesses. Basically, there's a business, and as a platform, Uber steps in. They make it available for you to reach your customer directly. Someone can do a gig job to make a little bit of money, and there's a part of your process that's now outsourced, which everyone seemed really excited about. But I remember very clearly hearing that Uber intended to go driverless even back then. So it really started to bother me when people started talking about going full time into gig work because I knew that this was never supposed to be a forever situation. This is very temporary. In fact, their business model is about making it so people don't have to, or that making it so they don't have to interact with people at all. These are things that have always been on my heart, always been on my mind. But I just moved forward. I was creative. I was like, well, hopefully I'm safe for another few years. Fast forward to the 2016 election. I wasn't even really paying attention to it. I had this channel. I was doing fine on it. And then I saw a speech from Andrew Yang, uh, tech guy running for president, but he was talking about automation. He was talking about AI and he was talking about the future. And he was the first person outside of myself who seemed to understand that this could potentially be a very big deal. And it's going to be a little bit different than the other technological revolutions of the past. So I was on board. I ended up, connecting with his campaign and making content. And that kind of just became my thing. I stopped making content on this channel. I felt like I was doing something very fulfilling. I was pursuing something that was important to me. And I thought I was contributing. We lost, but my whole purpose in getting involved in that was hopefully we make the idea of AI and technology like something that people talk about. I want people to be thinking about this because I think this is going to be a problem. Like there's going to be a ton of opportunity, but at the same time, in the grand scheme of things, this is going to be problematic. Well, here we are now in 2025, and I look up and I see that Sora 2 is out and generative video is just, it's insane. It's so good. And I know everyone's saying, oh, or at least they were saying until recently, it's never going to be as good as, a real movie, or people are always going to want a human touch. And I get that you think that that's the way people work, but as far as I know, people are always looking for the path of least resistance. They want to eliminate as many no's as possible. And I'm seeing it everywhere. I mean, your feed is an example of, you kind of have a hypothesis or a belief system and you fill it with that. You're not putting things that disagree with you in there. And, I guess that's where the rage bait comes in. But for the most part, we've all kind of crafted our own little echo chambers. So why would we not want an AI that does the same thing? I'm seeing all these reports that people are taking Chat GPT and they're turning it into a therapist, and it's just becoming really, really scary. I really wanted to help change this in some way. Like I wanted to help this to become a conversation early, and now I am sincerely concerned about the future. You know what I mean? Like with prior technology, I could see the financial benefits. I could see, where it benefits corporations as well as people. But this time around, I don't see the benefits. Like I see where you can do some cool stuff, but I don't see how crippling all these industries is going to be good for everyone as a whole. It's scary, as a dad. I'm thinking like, what do I tell my kid? What am I training him for? What does his future look like? I was hoping that some things would have changed after the pandemic. We would have ironed some stuff out. We would have had some idea about the future and how we can make things better. I thought the education system would have changed some. Nothing. I don't know. I don't know what the future is. Like I'm trying to be optimistic, but as I think about my life as a, creative entrepreneur and quite possibly this being the end of it, it's not even so much of like not being a creative anymore or not having that career anymore. It's more so about what do you do? Like what do you do after a lifetime of creating? What's the next step? Like what's the job? Because it's not like there is a job. It's not like there's a bunch of jobs. What am I trained for? What are the skill sets that I've learned as a professional that I can take and apply to any other job? And I try to be positive every day, and I just keep my fingers crossed, and I just keep hoping that things work out. And they have, but when you have a kid, you can't like just keep crossing your fingers and hoping it works out, At a certain point, you need stability. You need to just be like, look, I might have had a good year last year, but there's a chance I might not have a good year next year. Honestly, I thought this was going to be my last year. I didn't think I was going to make it through this year. And, I caught a couple of breaks, and it's kind of been good. I just got off of one of the biggest projects of my career. It might ultimately end up being the biggest project of my career. But as a creative, it doesn't matter. It's always on to the next one. It's always, what have you done for me lately? It's always, what are you working on? So years later, divorce, older, and trying to figure out, the next thing, I returned to YouTube thinking that, well, if nothing, human connection is still a thing. Between the TikTokification of video and now all this generative stuff, I don't know if there's much of a future left. It's not a doom and gloom thing. Like I said, I'm still doing it. I'm still trying. But it's getting real scary. I thought creative work was going to be all that's left. But it turns out creators were never valued in the first place. See, it never bothered me when people would say, why would you spend all that money on a painting? Or concert tickets are way too expensive. But also, it didn't bother me earlier on when people would download music illegally or stream movies and TV shows. Now that I'm a professional artist, now that those things affect me, it's a little bit different. And I think that's the problem. I think the problem is sometimes we wait until something affects us before it's a big deal. I don't know where this AI thing is going to go. I don't know what the future holds. But just because it's not affecting you now, or the ones you love, it will. Because the one thing that you can always bet on is capitalism, shareholders. And there are a lot of those involved in this AI stuff. So I'd definitely pay attention if I were you. I left YouTube to try to stop AI, and I lost. But maybe this video will reach one of you guys who can pick up where I left off. My name is Aaron. I make content on my life as a recently divorced single dad and creative entrepreneur. If you want to continue on this journey with me, make sure you hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next one.